30 days ago, I started a brand new Etsy shop in what is probably one of the most saturated niches on Etsy to put my reputation on the line and to also prove to you guys that no matter what niche you're in, it's still possible to make incredible sales volumes on Etsy. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the exact stats from the first 30 days of my new Etsy shop. And I'm also gonna give you the best tips I use to get ahead of all of the competition that you can use in your own Etsy shops to start making a lot more sales immediately. So if you're new here, my name's Alfie and I became a multi-six-figure Etsy seller in just 2 years. And I've also had some pretty good success with my other e-commerce brands. And now I'm going to do a full video on this new Etsy shop in the coming months. So for now, I'm not going to reveal the name to you guys, but essentially the shop I created was selling mugs in the print on demand business model, which as any of you that know anything about Etsy will know, that is incredibly saturated and hard to break into. And now I'm not a creative expert at all, so I'm going to flash up a few of the designs here so you can get a rough idea at the sort of products I was selling on Etsy. And as you can see, some of the designs are incredibly basic, but if anything, that actually proves my point better, because it means the sales I did make were more down to the strategy and the tips I used rather than the actual products themselves. So I want to show you here that after listing my first item in the shop on February the 26th, after just 24 days, the shop's made 7 orders and it's taken in over 125 Great British pounds in revenue. And this is without using any Etsy ads whatsoever. It's all organic sales. So as any of you will know that started on Etsy recently, this is incredibly good sales figures for a brand new shop in such a saturated niche like mugs. And as we all know, selling on Etsy is definitely a snowball effect. So I'm very confident with this shop that if I just continue the way that I'm going and using the strategies that I'm using, in a few months time, the sales volumes are only going to go up each month. And this could be a really successful store, which of course I'm going to keep you guys updated with every step of the way. So now I want to give you some of the best tips and strategies that I used for this Etsy shop in an incredibly saturated niche to get these sales volumes so early on that you can employ in your shop immediately. And the first tip is going to be to easily find and sell best-selling products. So what I like to do is to actually go onto the Etsy marketplace and literally just search for products in the niche that I'm trying to compete in. And then I'll just find a store which is making loads of sales and they got loads of bestseller Etsy listings. And I'm just going to take that store name and I'll literally just paste it directly into an Etsy research app. So the one that I use here is Everbee. And this is just going to show you all of the stats and all of the products for that Etsy store that are selling really well, and it's going to give you the top best selling products at the top, and you can see exactly what they're making and the sales volumes that they're making on Etsy. So for example, with my store, like I was selling mugs, I was taking a lot of inspiration from other amazing best selling mug stores. I was looking at their say top 2, 3, 4 listings that are making all of the sales, and then what I recommend to do for you guys as well is to just make your own variations of these best selling listings. And so I'm not saying the copy directly, I'm saying take inspiration, maybe change one little thing here, so like the text style or the color of something, or I mean even if it's like a digital item, you can just change certain aspects of the digital design but just keep the basic principle of the item still the same, because you know that it sells well and you know it works. And if you're actually selling items which you know are already selling, then this is just going to give you such an advantage to beat the competition, and it's just going to give your store such a major leg up compared to any other new store that's entering into a saturated niche with no idea of what actually works and what actually sells. So moving on to the next tip now, and this is to use better SEO than the competition. So look, SEO is an amazing way to organically get your listings ahead of the competition, no matter how saturated your niche is, okay? And for this one, SEO research apps are going to be very key. So I'm going to head back to the one that I use, which is Everbee. And on their product analysis tool, I'm literally just, again, I'm just going to type in the niche that I'm trying to sell in. So again, I'm going to use the example of mugs, and then I'm just going to find again some of the best selling listings in this niche that I'm trying to compete with. I'm going to click on them, and this is why these research apps are so amazing, okay? So if you look here, you can literally scroll down and it's going to show you the exact tags that this best selling item is currently using on Etsy. And the magic doesn't stop there, because there's also literally a copy feature. So you can literally just press this copy button and it's going to take all of the tags from this listing that you know sells, and it's going to allow you to paste it directly into your listings on Etsy. But however, I don't want you to just stop there, okay? Because this is just gonna put your SEO on a level playing field with the competition. We actually are gonna improve this. So if you head back to Everbee and you look back at the tags, you can see here that there's a keyword score. And now this is something that a lot of the research apps do, but I just personally think it's best presented on Everbee. And so essentially this keyword score is just a combination of the search volumes for the given tag versus the competition for the tag, okay? So the amount of sellers that are using this tag that you're competing against. So for me, normally, a lot of the keyword tags that I use, if they've got a competition score of 0, this either means that there's not enough search volume for them or there's way too much competition. So I'll normally go and remove these tags from my listing because they're not going to be doing that much for my listing anyway at the start. And I'll just replace this with other tags that have a better keyword score from some other bestseller listings on Everbee that I can find. So essentially, this is going to put you in a position where you've got a good combination of SEO keywords that you know work from a good combination of bestseller listings. And it's just going to give you a really good position to start off with your SEO. And look, if you're in the market for an amazing SEO keyword research tool app, then of course, I'm gonna massively recommend Everbee. It's the one that I use all the time. You'll see it in all of my previous videos, and they've kindly sponsored today's video. So if you wanna check them out, I genuinely recommend them. There'll be a link in the video description. So yeah, moving on to my next tip now, and this is to upload more product listings. So I keep saying this in so many videos, Etsy is very much a listings game, and the more listings that you have on the platform, the more chance that you have to reach a wider audience and get that first click, which is gonna take shoppers directly to your shop. And if you look at most of the top stores on Etsy, you'll see that they pretty much all have hundreds, if not even thousands of Etsy listings. And especially if you're in a very saturated niche, you need to be putting out even more listings simply because there's even more competition to compete against. And so the more listings that you have on the Etsy platform, the higher the chance of a customer seeing one of these items and actually clicking on it, which of course, if you're watching all of my other videos, you'll know exactly how to set your listings up to get that first click anyway. But then of course, once they do click on your item, this suddenly takes the customer from the busy marketplace where they can see all of the competition to suddenly being directly in your Etsy shop, where instead of scrolling through competition's items, they're suddenly only scrolling through your items on your own shop, okay? And this just leads you to so many more possibilities. It could even lead to customers buying multiple items from your shop, increasing average order value, and it's just the goal. It's the goal of Etsy. Get customers to your shop, get them shopping on your shop. So yeah, maximize your chances of getting that first click, and the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to simply just increase your output of listings. And yeah, moving on to the next tip now, and this is to utilize external marketing. And so kind of in line with the last tip as well, the same principles, if you're in an extremely saturated niche, sometimes the best approach is to actually bring your own customers in rather than actually even having to compete against all of the competition in the first place. And so what I mean by this is marketing your products externally on platforms like Instagram and Pinterest. So if you do this correctly, all of a sudden, you're not even relying on having to market your items better on Etsy against all of the saturated competition anyway. You're literally bringing your own customers in, and you just don't even have to compete with the competition. And so I know that this strategy works firsthand because it's something that I've implemented directly with an Etsy store that I'm currently doing coaching with. And this shop is in the crochet niche, which is extremely saturated anyway now. But further to this, the problem that we had with the shop was that obviously, because everything's crochet and it's handmade, it's very hard to get a massive output of listings out to bring that first click in actually from Etsy. So again, because I believe every store circumstances are very different, we had to come up with a different approach together for this one. And something that I'd always strongly recommend in this specific circumstance, because the products were also visually very appealing, is to actually market them on Instagram. So we started a brand new Instagram account and we focused predominantly on reels. So making very visually appealing reels and essentially growing the following on Instagram, which is going to be a great sales funnel for shoppers to then see the product on Instagram and click through directly to the Etsy shop. And so as you can see, we grew the Instagram account from literally brand new 0 followers to over 800 followers in just a few months. And the Etsy shop now has 27 sales, predominantly as a direct result of people coming in from Instagram buying on the shop. And the shop only has 13 listings as well in what is a saturated niche. So I thought this was a massive, massive win, and I'm so proud of this shop because she's absolutely smashing it. So yeah, look, Etsy, I keep saying it, it's a very, very simple game, and as long as you do things right, you simply will make sales. So I've become more confident of this than I ever have through my own journey creating this new shop just to show you guys, and also from the success of pretty much everybody that I'm coaching with currently. And so just as long as you keep putting the time in and you don't become disheartened if you haven't made a sale in say the first week or even a few months, like if you keep doing things right, you simply will find success on Etsy, I promise you. And look, as always, if you want to work directly with me, just feel free to drop me a message on Instagram or email. I'd be more than happy to, I'd be honored. And if you want my best tips as a brand new Etsy shop to literally go from 0 sales to 100 as fast as possible, then I recommend you to check out this video. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Best of luck, guys.